In the end, I traded 18 stamps for this Timo hat. Not bad. Look at this cute little panda. How can I say no to this? I got to see what those gems from Stardew Valley look like in real life. What's up, guys? Last weekend I traveled to Chengdu with three friends that I had only known for a short time to join a Riftbound regional tournament. It was my first time traveling to another city like this, and also my first time competing in such a formal large-scale event. So I feel like it is worth taking a moment to look back on it. But before I get into that, there's something I want to mention. During those days, I barely talked to this camera. Part of the reason was that filming myself in front of people I know still feels a bit awkward, let alone trying to practice spoken English on a trip that was all about competition, right? More importantly, everything about this experience was just very new to me in a completely unfamiliar city, surrounded by the noise and intensity of an official tournament. I found myself observing much more than speaking. On Friday, we agreed to meet at the metro station at 11:30. Before that, I was still doing my usual thing, talking to the camera like I always do. But once I met up with my friends, I just couldn't get a single word out in front of the camera. Something a bit awkward happened right after we got on the subway. The two of them were sitting together with an empty seat next to them, but I ended up sitting across from them instead. And in my head, I was like, am I being a bit socially awkward? And then I thought, if I switch seats halfway through, that would be even more awkward. And on top of that, they were talking about a game I'd never played before, so in the end, I stayed where I was. Before getting on the fast train, we stopped by the McDonald's. Honestly, food at the train station is just ridiculously expensive. In the end, I only ate the chips I had bought earlier on my way. There was really no need to spend 30 yuan on a burger to just feel like I was fitting in. The fast train from Xi'an to Chengdu takes about 4 hours. At first, I was listening to an audiobook. Lately, I've been trying this way of reading instead of reading everything out loud. It feels way more flexible. I can follow along when something makes sense to me. I'll just skim through first and then go back to really focus on the chapters I'm interested in. Of course, the train doesn't always have good signal, so after a while we ended up playing Riftbound on the train. I played one BO3 match, then just watched them play. Time flew by, and before I knew it, we were already in Chengdu.
这是人吗？这是人类吗？
The next day, after breakfast, we headed to the tournament venue. The entry pack came with a card sleeve, a commemorative card, and a few stickers. The place was pretty impressive, but it was a bit noisy, and the lights was really flashing. So Sunday was 512 to 64 round, 7 bills, 3 matches in total. I lost my first 3 matches. Part of it was definitely because I wasn't very good at playing victory yet, but my opponents in the first two games ended up making it through the rounds, so losing to them wasn't really a big deal. Honestly, besides the results, I really enjoy the process of facing strangers one on one. That's the part I love most about this game. Since I was finishing my matches pretty quickly, I ended up having to wait a long time between rounds. So I just wandered around the venue and noticed quite a few players cosplaying as game characters. After losing three Swiss rounds, I left the tournament area and went to the side event to collect stamps. In the end, I traded 18 stamps for this Timo hat. Not bad. I shared this moment with Walkers, a friend I met just last week, and having someone respond really did make the happiness a little bigger. On the third day, there was actually a city tournament too, but I already got this Timo hat to accomplish it, so I didn't continue competing and decided to explore the city on my own. Chengdu is full of panda-themed stuff everywhere. I first went to the Chengdu Museum, just checking out how gold was used in traditional clothing and getting a glimpse of the city's history from ancient times to now. There was a section about gold being buried with dates that was almost killing me. If you notice where that gold piece is, you can probably guess what it was used for. And then there was that stone rhinoceros. I think I'd heard its story before, but standing in front of it in person, that felt kind of unreal. Before leaving the museum, I spent a long time hesitating in front of a souvenir coin machine. I knew these things are always overpriced and totally unnecessary, but look at this cute little panda. How can I say no to this? Also, back in elementary school, I always dreamed of going to museums, aquariums. Those places only exist in books for me back then. So I guess this was kinda making up for my childhood self. Later, I went to the Chengdu Natural History Museum. I got to see what those gems from Stardew Valley looked like in real life. But the most exciting thing was definitely the dinosaur skeletons. The Mammosaurus was really huge, honestly kinda scary. A foregoing one has to eat like 100,000 calories a day. Crazy. Of course, there was also the classic Triceratops vs T-Rex display, and tons of fossilized dinosaur eggs. Overall, the trip to Chengdu was really great. I got to adjust to the occasional socializing with groups while still keep some time just for myself. My tournament results weren't great at all, but at least I got this team head from collecting stamps, and visiting the two museums was pretty satisfying. The trip also confirmed something for me. Some experiences are better for observing quietly first and speaking up comes later. Alright, that's my little recap of my Chengdu trip.